And while I certainly absolutely sympathize with the family of the victim of this tragic murder, and I certainly do not promote adverse actions such as these, it is shocking. And the one thing that I want to focus on is the shocking reaction of the public and the sentiment of policyholders at large. We all heard of a case where an insurance company decided not to pay a claim and the tragic results of that decision. We've all talked about here on the GlobalPro Live with both industry experts on both sides of the table, as well as adjusters, lawyers, and various other experts that have discussed the issues that they've dealt with in the field, in the courtrooms, in dealing with their clients, whether the insurance companies or policyholders, as it relates to the decisions by certain insurance companies, whether it's at the whether it's in the field or the low-level desk adjusters to the executives that, and in some way, are responsible for the handlings of thousands upon thousands of claims, whether it's a medical claim, a property claim, an auto claim. If you had insurance, I would be shocked to find that you have never at all experienced a bad claims handling practice by an insurance company. It just, quite frankly, happens. Why? A lot of insurance companies are driven by one thing, and that's profit, and reporting those profits to their shareholders. And we address this issue all the time. And as you can see in the public's eye, insurance companies are not doing what they're supposed to be doing for policyholders, generally speaking. In fact, we have seen reports, and we've discussed it right here on the GlobalPro Live, oftentimes following major events like hurricanes, that insurance companies are slow to respond, are not paying the claims properly, And then we see certain campaigns such as don't sign anything, or emergency orders that get entered that are supposed to help the policyholder, but when you actually read them, they're divisively not helping anyone but the insurance company. Like this, my sentiments and my opinions regarding the legislative changes that were supposed to make the Florida insurance market better. But have we seen lower rates, better products, more insurance companies? No. What we're seeing is just simply more information, misinformation, misguided information out there regarding how you should be handling your claim, what you should be doing, when you should be doing it, and how you should be doing it. And in the public's eye, insurance companies are not doing right by the policyholders. And they can be doing more. I mean, in fact, I talk with adjusters that work for insurance companies. They share their frustration with regards to submitting the reports, how they get submitted, what happens with them after they get submitted, and what they should be doing. And I'm excited to tell you that in 2025, GlobalPro is rolling out a new tool for all of you consumers out there that are experiencing loss and damage as it relates to homeowners and some commercial losses, where you'll be able to get a real-time indication as to where you are in the market in your recovery. More to come on that. But I want to stay focused on this issue because what we're seeing out there, a lot of tasteless opinions and admiration for the killer. But I don't want to address those issues. I want to focus on the corporate issue, the issue that I deal with on a daily basis. I want to focus on the reality of that there is an issue with insurance companies and how they act generally when it comes to claims. There's so much documentation out there about the business practices of insurance companies, and so often we have tried to address nuances of those things here on the GlobalPro Live, and we will continue to do that and provide you the information you use. So continue to tune in. If you haven't already, like and subscribe and follow us on all our social media, because when we go live, we're giving you information you can use as a policyholder. Now, we're not talking about medical claims here. We're talking about businesses. We're talking about community associations. We're talking about homeowners, property casualty insurance, whether it's a damage or destruction to your business or your community or your home or your personal property or a loss of income, E&O, D&O type claims, real property issues we are addressing right here. We love to address many other issues, and we get solicitations about it all the time, whether it's workman's comp, personal injury. But That's not our focus. We want to stay focused on real property issues of the high-end auto, marine. I mean, I mentioned so many right here that we can help you navigate those processes, and that's what this is all about. Again, it's tragic. It's tragic that as a policyholder, you are not getting what you're paying for, oftentimes when dealing with your insurance company. And so we want to take a step back. We want to evaluate our situation as we go into 2025, and we want to do better. We want to help you navigate these claims process and make sure that you're getting the information you can use. But again, as I've highlighted in prior broadcasts, there are many different cases out there, whether they're lawsuits, whether they're decisions by judges and juries. There are many plaintiff cases out there that have been brought against insurance companies that are not getting the attention they deserve, that highlight the issues in the claims handling practices. We just saw the Supreme Court in North Carolina come back on an issue regarding COVID claims, virus-related losses that shut down a business. They were told they cannot use the properties intended to be. There was absolute damage to their property. There is no exclusion or limitations in generally speaking, most commercial policies we saw in 2020 who made claims for loss and damage, but yet time after time, court after court, courtroom battle after courtroom battle, claim after claim, we were not seeing an insurance company step up, nor were we seeing the sentiments of the court in favor of the plaintiff. Yet, again, there were policy forms available, and I addressed this on prior broadcasts. There were policy forms available to insurance companies, which would have excluded specifically virus. In fact, there were, in fact, forms out there related to SARS and COVID, and because there's various different variants of COVID, and there were, in fact, forms available to insurance companies, but they didn't use them. They didn't use them because they didn't intend to exclude them. If they intended to exclude them, then they should have excluded them. Because why? As the Supreme Court in North Carolina came back and decided, is that we need to take another look at this. Why? The form isn't in there. The exclusion isn't specifically stated. And it's ambiguous, therefore it's interpreted in favor of the policyholder. These are basic tenets and claims understandings of most professionals out there. This is nothing new. This is nothing earth-shattering. They simply said what we already knew to be true, that they could have done differently. They could have included these forms. Why? Because you, as a policyholder, don't get the benefit of negotiating these contracts. No, you accept whatever it is that's provided to you at whatever cost they're willing to sell it to you. You pick from those few options and you walk out the door, you pay before you even got a chance to test drive it, before you got a chance to feel it, smell it, taste it, before you got that chance. It's one of the very few things in your life you will buy before you ever get to see it, touch it, feel it, taste it, see it, whatever. Understand how it's going to perform, like test driving a car. No, you don't get the benefit here, but they got the benefits time after time in so many courtrooms as it relates to these types of losses. And here, the Supreme Court in North Carolina came back and said, I think you got it wrong. So they remanded to the lower courts, and we'll see what happens. We're going to continue tracking this, but it's big news. It's big news in the wake of the tragic loss of the CEO that got murdered, right? That murdered. And there's this sentiment out there regarding, and you could see it on social media, like it's in your face, that there is so many people out there that hate insurance companies and are willing to go to such extremes because of this corporate machine focused on profit. And again, we don't condone the murder of anyone at all. We don't at all. We don't condone the denial of claims that should be rightfully paid and recovery should occur. People have lost businesses over improperly handled claims. I've seen people lose their homes over it, literally end up in foreclosure proceedings because they can't get a recovery from the insurance company in order to rebuild the property for a loss that absolutely was covered in the insurance. In fact, we've seen denials of claims that took months and months and months. Yet then once the insurance company was sued, they came to the table and paid millions of dollars and in fact, sometimes millions of dollars in attorney's fees on top of the damages. Yet there's oftentimes these plaintiff attorneys, these public adjusters, these policyholders are said to be the villains in a situation which they did not create. They did not write the policy. They did not negotiate the policy. They simply made a claim for what they believed to be covered under the policy, which their policy specifically did not exclude. And that's what I believe we see here in North Carolina. I believe, and I've always believed, and we've stated this and we've talked about it in prior broadcasts. In fact, Matt Sangsbury, the president of the Florida GlobalPro, even gone on to talk about, and we pulled out policy example. I remember sitting in the Nucleus studio talking about it in detail, where this is not specifically excluded. In fact, our now elected President Trump once came out, and not a direct quote, but famously stated that he has never seen a policy that would exclude such a thing. You know, this is, again, there has to be a change in the way in which these claims are handling. There has been pivotal times in history where things have changed for the benefit of the policyholder. And we believe now's the time for something to change, something to happen, something big to happen with regards to insurance. It fundamentally does not make sense how money is transferred, how risk is transferred, and what you're paying for, particularly in coastal states where you're supposed to be buying a wind policy that excludes things like wind-driven rain suddenly. It fundamentally doesn't make sense. It's there. We deal with it. We navigate with it. These extremely high deductibles, limitations and exclusion on water losses and mold and everything under the sun. It does fundamentally not make sense for what we're paying at the rate that we're paying it for. There's questions regarding how the premiums are being assessed, at what rate they're doing it, what constitutes a risk which someone is willing to actually insure you for. There's so many different nuances to this. And again, the point of these episodes is to give you information you can use. And if you haven't already, like us, follow us on all our social media. We want to wish you an absolute happy holidays. If you enjoyed your Thanksgiving and you're excited for Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is, the holiday that you celebrate, we want to wish you an absolute happy holiday. It's looking up here in 2025. Things continue to move. There's a lot of excitement for what's to come here. We are excited at GlobalPro to continue to provide the services that we do because we know we're doing good by you, the policyholder. And if you haven't already, check us on at globalpro.com. In the resource section, there's all kinds of information you can use. Plan for 2025. If you haven't already, get on it. You need a plan for a better 2025 and an even better 2026. But every year's a building block. And you got to be optimistic. You got to be forward thinking. Set your goals. Work with us. Let us know how we can help you. Let us know how we can help you improve your situation as it relates to insurance in 2025. Again, thanks for tuning in here, right here on the Recovery Report Live. Like us and follow us, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place, right here on the Recovery Report Live.